this should be the expectation going forward. We're going to be playing football in January and hopefully February. Hello, Earthlings, and welcome back to the Thundering Dice channel with your boys, the Thundering Dice Brothers. And today, we're taking a look back at what was certainly the best and most exciting season of Broncos football since 2015. Although the season ended in a snowy, slushy loss at Mile High Stadium in the AFC Championship Game against the Patriots, we have a lot to be proud of and hopeful about as we look towards the offseason. From last-minute, heart-pounding defeats to last-minute, heart-pounding victories, this Broncos team rallied from a disappointing 1-2 start to an AFC best 14-3 record, with the first seed in the AFC, a first-round bye, and the first real shot at the Lombardi since Manning retired. But before we got there, and ultimately to the championship game, this team played one hell of a season of football. One that will be one for the history books. Let's take a look at some of the amazing accomplishments that this team tallied, but let's start with Bo Nix. He is the first quarterback to record 20 or more wins, 7,500 or more passing yards, and 50 or more passing touchdowns in their first two seasons. He has the most wins by a quarterback in their first two seasons with 24. He has the most game-winning drives by a quarterback in their first two seasons with 10. He has the most comeback wins in a season by a quarterback, period, with 12. And he is the first NFL player to have at least 2 passing and 2 rushing touchdowns in a single quarter. He tallied that week 7 against the New York Giants, and he has the highest single game completion percentage by a rookie quarterback ever, 89.7% against the Kansas City Chiefs in 2024. Now, those are just the NFL records. Let's talk about the Broncos franchise records. He has the most passing yards, most passing touchdowns, and the most completions in a season for a rookie quarterback. He has the most offensive touchdowns in a season by a rookie quarterback with 34, the most wins in a season by a rookie quarterback with 10, and the most wins in a season by a quarterback, period, with 14. And that was just our quarterback. Now, let's move on to a little bit of defensive stats, because it was a record-setting defense that was first in the NFL with 68 sacks, a new franchise record. Second in total yards, first in yards per play, first in total touchdowns. We have the best red zone defense, second in third down efficiency, and top 5 in every other defensive metric. And as a little cherry on top, we had a league high 6 players voted to the Pro Bowl: Sutton, Bowles, Miners, Zach Allen, Benito, and PS2. While Bowles, Miners, Allen, and special teams player Devon Key were named first team All-Pro selections, Sertan and Talanoa Hufanga getting second team nods. Now, I know we all wish this video could be a Super Bowl preview, but it wasn't to be. But before we get to what went wrong in the AFC Championship game, let's check in with Ian, our resident vibe check expert, and see what the vibes, what the eye test, what the feelings around this season ended up being for those people who are less concerned with pro football focused stats and metrics and cold numbers. No. We want to know what the season was like to those who watched it, felt it, and experienced it. So, vibe check away, my dude.
I learned a long time ago, ignore the propaganda and focus on what your eyes can see. Now, my brother gave a lot of great stats, but as he said, I am the vibe check expert here, and the vibe is tremendous. There are many people who are lamenting the fact that we didn't win the AFC Championship and are not going to the Super Bowl. And whilst I am obviously in that category, it would have been fantastic to see us go to the Super Bowl. I am okay that we didn't go because of how well this season worked out. There are many factors that brought us to this conclusion here. We as a team blew out every expectation that Bo and the Broncos set last year. For his rookie year, he did amazing. On his second year, he did phenomenal. And it's not just him, but obviously it's kind of hard to not single out the quarterback for every single game because they are the linchpin character. But we went from desolation for 10 years and then within...
No playoffs.
Yeah, no playoffs. And then within 2 years, we were one game away from the Super Bowl and arguably one turnover from the Super Bowl. If just a few things didn't happen in the AFC Championship game, we would have been there. But since we're not, For everyone who is lambasting the Broncos or Sean Payton or Bo Nix or Harvey or Mims or Stidham, all of you need to chill out and remember how great of a season this is. As I said, I am the Vibe Check's expert here, and the Vibe Check was tremendous.
This Broncos team, yeah, it's got... Some people might say that, like, this was our window, you know, and we're never going to get the AFC first seed again and stuff like that. And, yeah, we're going to play a tougher schedule next year. But, you know, being good means that you play better teams. Sorry, but that's just the way it goes. This is what we all signed up for. We want to play better teams. We want to be better. We want to be the best. You got to beat the best. How often are you guys hearing, oh, well, they only beat these teams that only had a 500 or worse record. They only beat this many winning teams. It's like, you can only play who's on your schedule. Sorry, they sucked and we're better than them. Robert Kraft bitching about coming to Mile High and be like, weather and altitude, it's not fair. I can't get a rub and tug there. Yeah, well, maybe don't lose to the Raiders earlier in the season and this would have been a different thing. So, you know, we should all just be really, 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 really happy that we have a team that's contending again. A team that can make it this far. A quarterback who is so clutch that he can come back so many times. Like, being down by 20 points, 18 points, 21 points, scoring 33 points in a quarter. Fuck it, we can do it. Throw him out there, he can make it happen somehow. And that's actually kind of leading me a little bit into the AFC Championship game. What kind of went wrong? Why aren't we talking about our Super Bowl previews? Why aren't we talking about the next week's game with the hope and expectation of a Lombardi? And it's in large part, unfortunately, due to we lost Bo.
Yeah, even I won't make the argument that losing Bo was devastating. And yeah, of course it was. But I will also defend Stidham a lot more here than I think people are willing to do. Because 2 years off the field, I mean, for a real play game, I mean, for a real playoff game and a real game in general, I mean, like, you know, last time he was on the field is because he had to sub out Russell Wilson because, you know, Wilsey sucks so much.
And Sean Payton was just getting tired. So
Yeah.
He's like, I got 2 games left in the season. What do we got to lose? Let's trust Stidham out there.
Yeah, exactly. And so Stidham, you know, did a decent job. Decent.
Early,
and
anyway.
Early. And I know the people who are watching this, as soon as I said decent, you'll start seeing the certain plays when he was scrambling out of the pocket way too quickly. He wasn't planted. Some of the throws went bad. Some of the, let's just say, shuttle passes to the side that resulted in a
turnover and 7 free points for the Patriots.
It's like, there are plenty of criticisms here to be leveled at him, and I'm not making excuses. But as a whole, for someone who hadn't started a game for 2 years, was thrust into the AFC Championship. This is not like preseason. It's like, no, this is basically the second title to the main title. So go out there and do your best and win. All of that. Plus, you know, I mean, like, you had many people down. Our center was gone. Dobbins was, you know, still out.
Our second best wide receiver on the field was Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Yeah.
Marvin Mims had a great reception earlier, but that was it. And then when he was targeted again later, Stidham badly underthrew that ball, and it ended up being the nail in the coffin interception for that game. There was no coming back from that at that point. Just
some field goals that were blocked.
Yeah, you got a blocked field goal, missed field goal, 4th down conversion that we tried for in the red zone very close to the goal line and didn't convert on. So I know if you make that 4th down play, I understand. You go up 14-0 with a defense that has absolutely been dominating, completely shutting down the Patriots offense, making May look like the JV team. It was beautiful.
Oh, it was.
And they continued to do that the whole rest of the game long, but it didn't end up mattering because the offense couldn't reciprocate in the snow. So that 4th down, not scoring at all, long, promising looking drive. That's when I was like, yeah, I'm hopeful. We are grinding this clock down. We are running it. We're passing it well. We're getting down the red zone. And then it stalled out. Field goal or 4th down. Now, we have different opinions on this.
Yeah, I will defend the going for it in 4th down because at that time, the drive had lots of good momentum. It was a gamble, but I think it was worth the risk because the payoff would have been that great. And at the time, too, if my calculus was, if we don't make this 4th, we still have plenty of time because we're looking really good and the Patriots are looking really abysmal. So I think we could claw it back if we don't get it. Now, obviously, that never happened, and the snow became the great equalizer, and everything stalled out to such a degree that the fourth quarter just was a hacky sack competition between everyone.
So the snow, the blizzard, it was truly a blizzard there for a moment too. You could not see the stadium. You could not see very well in the field. I mean,
you couldn't
the white
even see
jerseys,
the lines.
Yeah, it was, oh man, and that broadcast overlaying those, that doesn't really matter to me very much. It was just frustrating and stupid. Actually, the snow may have affected the placement
the last
of
play. Yeah, what's his
hold
last
for the kick. Yeah,
exactly. It could have been a yard or
it's like a yard off,
a yard
or something
two
like
short.
that.
Which, is definitely could have been the great difference between a non-tipped ball and a tipped ball.
Yeah, exactly. If he had been a yard or two further back on that kick, chances are it would have been just an inch higher. It didn't even have to be an inch higher. He barely grazed it, just enough to like fuck up the trajectory of the kick. So that would have gone through. That would have been at least a tie game. If we had gone for it on that fourth down for a field goal instead of down the 4th and 1 play, we may have been tied at 10-10. If Stidham doesn't lateral backwards somehow in a fluky weird ass play and they recover it, they don't get those 7 points right there. So gosh, there's so many what ifs, but I think it really boiled down to we would have had a better chance if Bo Nix had been playing, no doubt. There's no question in my mind we win that game if Bo Nix plays.
Yeah.
The O-line didn't seem to be very well in sync with Stidham.
The dropped passes
constantly
were a killer.
No run game, no run game, no run game. That is the thing that we really, really need to drive home here.
Yeah.
We lost Dobbins, and
you cannot understate how big of a loss that was. Just look at the stats. I mean, he only played 10 games.
This is from the vibe check guy.
Yeah, this is from the vibe check guy. He only played 10 games, and he's still our leading rusher by a few hundred yards.
His per game totals are wildly ahead of RJ Harvey's. Now, RJ Harvey, I think, will be a good change of pace back. He's a good receiving back.
Yeah.
But J.K. Dobbins, he was just top 5, if not top 3 at some points of the season in rushing. Mm-hmm. It's such a shame that he went down, because if he doesn't go down, we also see a very different playoff picture too. There's so many what ifs in an NFL season. Injuries are a part of the game. Yeah. So what ifing about injuries is really, really kind of productive. Like we could what if about Bo, what if about Dobbins. What I'd like to what if about is Ingram.
Yes.
Because he was so hyped up in the offseason, and we had such high expectations. Like the first play of preseason practices open to the public and open to the media was this beautiful dime down the sidelines to Ingram, and I was like, that's what's going to be coming. We're going to see a lot of that. And then Nix, nada, niente, nothing. He disappeared. He led the league in drops. Our wide receivers and tight ends dropped like 3% of all the passes that Bo threw for them. Imagine how much better it would be if we had wide receivers that could catch and tight ends that could block and catch and so-called jokers that could actually do their jobs like Ingram. Like, man, I don't know if we just underestimated what he could do, or we mis-scouted him, or he was dealing with lagging injuries or something, but he never
accomplished what his preseason debut. Yeah, it's definitely kind of sad. And then also, like, another dude I will shout out, mostly just because it was an awesome touchdown, Crumb. I mean,
that
was just so great.
That was such a great, and I even called it ahead of time too. I was like, look, that's Frank Crumb. Oh, watch for it. And then he caught that touchdown, and he just he wanted that
touchdown so hard. He's like, I'm just going to somersault over the dude.
He almost had his own Elway helicopter moment.
Yeah.
And that is a memory that's going to live forever in his mind. That's like a peak career moment. So good for Frank Crumb right there. But that was in the divisional round. We couldn't make that magic happen this time, unfortunately. But
yeah.
So, we talked a lot about what went wrong in the AFC game. But
let's go what went right.
Because hell, guys, we made it there.
Yeah, we made it there. And our defense made the Patriots look like a girls' soccer league.
Amateurs.
I just complete smackdown, and May just
except for his running ability. May that was the thing, 60 plus yards.
Yeah, like that was also like one of the things, like, for not just this, I'll just briefly touch on this. Like, we could not stop a good run play throughout the entire season, really. That was like our massive Achilles heel.
It felt like it, but I think we were still top 5 in run defense, so it felt like it sometimes, but I think we're looking at it from a different perspective. Now think of it, if you are a team playing against the Broncos, how do you feel about it, right? Like, some teams did actually run all over us. Like, there are some teams that just had our number that ran for over 100 yards, and there are some teams that just didn't. So I think the eye test was hard to judge, because the stats kind of tell a different story than the eye test sometimes.
Yeah, that's why I say we couldn't stop the run game, because there were two types of run games that we came across. Ones we stopped and ones we didn't.
Yeah.
There wasn't any mid section where we followed through most of the time. It was always like they slipped through and get 10, 15 yards, or we shut them down before the line of scrimmage. It was just basically that type of binary choice.
We need
we need the gray zone. We need like everything between 1 to 10 yards. We need that shit shut down. Faster.
Yeah.
But
the AFC Championship game anyway, like
it was
that defense,
really good.
Beyond missing that stuff with Drake May's rushes.
Yeah.
Completely
it's hard
dominated. They had, at one point, they had 12 drives where they totaled like 12 yards.
Yeah. There was a whole quarter where they didn't even step into our side of the field. So yeah, shutting them down. Absolutely.
So the defense, fucking clutch as hell. Only thing they didn't do in this game was create turnovers, which they did in the divisional round. So that is something looking forward. Let's work on that. That pass from Stidham to Mims early in the game to set up the lone touchdown. And then, of course, the succeeding touchdown to Sutton. Man, that was the definition of it's the hope that kills you. Because we looked so good that drive. That dope pass, bootleg out. Sutton, right corner, touchdown, Broncos 7-0. Oh yeah, baby, we were feeling good. Defense was stifling.
You can tell how much my brother liked that play because he literally just told you what happened, having not seen it.
So, yes, I did enjoy that game. I mean, it was the highlight of the game for me, probably. But after that, it all kind of went downhill, unfortunately. We had a good drive, stalled out, and after that, it was just punt city and then snow games, though. I have to say, you know, with all the talk of the new stadium coming in 2031, we may be seeing an end to snow games, which is kind of sad because snow games are kind of dope.
They're my favorite type of game.
I know we didn't do well in it this time,
but they're fun to watch.
I love that snow and the atmosphere and the slippy, sliding nature of it, and it kind of turns a little more into like
comical.
And also, fuck my game plan.
Yeah, it does.
You know, how well can these guys scramble and adapt and play true, like, backyard football in the snow, basically? Like, fuck it, I don't see no line markers, I didn't hear no whistle.
Especially when that snow is kind of like snow and a little bit of sleet and really making the field super wet to the point where certain players just fell as soon as they got the ball.
Yeah, which was frustrating as hell to watch.
But funny, too.
But also funny. And I love snow games. You know, it is what it is. It's a part of football, and I hope that we still get to experience them. Domes are cool, but football is an outdoor sport. It's an all-weather sport. If it rains, or if it snows, or, you know, hail and lightning, okay, maybe we chill out a little bit. But a little bit of snow and sleet and water, you know, it get fucking dirty. It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't have to be out in the mud. So.
Right. And one of the things, like, I don't know if they ever intentionally practice during those times, but when we lose the outdoor stadium, I hope we don't lose our ability to play in these scenarios.
We better start figuring out how to play in that, because you know what? This should be the expectation going forward. We're going to be playing football in January and hopefully February.
Yeah.
Which means it's Colorado. We all know Colorado weather is coldest, wettest, and nastiest between January and March.
Mm-hmm.
Well, football, we want to be playing playoff football. We want the championship to come through Denver every single year. Well, we better fucking get ready for some snowy and sleety games. So maybe we get a little bit of slip and slide action going on in the field. You know, wet that shit down. Before you change out the turf next time, get it really soggy and make the players
drizzle
play
it with olive oil and make them, you know, all wear bikinis and
rent one of those snow machines from Aspen Snowmass. They're not using it right now. So,
yeah, absolutely.
All right,
put them for fucking good use.
Before we let this get off the rails too far, let's wrap this up with some things that we think that we want to see next year for the Broncos. I'll lead it off first. I'm going to start with coaches. I want us to keep Davis Webb. I want us to keep Vance Joseph. Now, we have an opening for offensive coordinator. It should be a no-brainer. I know we have to interview from outside, and who knows, maybe we'll find someone stellar better than Davis Webb, but I'd like to keep Davis Webb in the building. Let's promote him to offensive coordinator.
Yes, absolutely. Another thing that definitely needs to be fixed, we need a better run game.
Oh, yes.
I mean, like, Dobbins was out, and since we haven't seen him on a whole season, we don't necessarily know
we never will is the problem. He's never played a whole season in his entire career.
Yeah, that's true. So we definitely need another, you know, running back who is as good as Dobbins or maybe better. You know? That wouldn't be too bad.
Well, here's the thing, you know, I like to say, here's one of Bowles' great attributes before he became an All-Pro. Availability is your best attribute sometimes.
Yeah.
So when you're always available and you're never injured, you're going to be more reliable, more available. So if you can get someone who does even 90% of what Dobbins can do, but can play a whole season,
that's true.
That's a huge upgrade in my book.
It is.
Now, I'd love to see Dobbins stick around and be able to play an entire 17-game season plus a postseason. That'd be ideal. I just don't know if it's possible with him. He seems too injury-prone. So yes, I agree. Let's get get another running back.
Yeah, definitely. And then also...
Or maybe another running back. Let's just figure out a better running back situation.
Yeah. And then also, we need another stud wide receiver.
Yeah. When your number 2 wide receiver in the AFC Championship game is Lil Jordan Humphrey.
It's not good. I mean, we like you, Lil, but you don't cut it for a stud.
And Marvin Mims needs to be utilized more somehow.
Yes.
Maybe he can be our number 2 wide receiver. He and Court can be our number 2s, maybe. Because, man, Court... I think he'd be a stud number 2. I think if we had a number 1 that would like constantly dominate defensive attention, that would open up Mims and Court, Jordan Humphrey for some more action.
Yeah.
Give Court more 50-50 balls.
Yeah, because I'm like, we need an ace that everyone's always looking
Catches
for.
everything.
But then we have like the king and queen, Cortland and Mims, in the background. So you have like 3 people that you don't all have to cover, but 2 people have to be covered on our ace. So, you spread out the defense a little bit wider, so it's a lot easier for us to get these better receiving yards.
Yep. And then, dropsies. The dropsies kill us.
That was that fucking, especially in the AFC game, that really killed us all the drops throughout the whole season too. Yeah, we gotta clean that shit up.
Yeah. What is it? 3% of all of those passes end up being dropped, which you're like, 3% doesn't sound that bad. But when you're talking about like the hundreds and hundreds, like the thousands of passing attempts that happen in a season, 3% starts to add up real bad.
Yeah.
And those 3% of those drops, they're not all inconsequential drops. They're not all like 1st and 5 after a penalty and they drop like a 2-yard slant or something. No.
A lot of it's like 3 and out and shit.
Yeah. So drops kill drives, drops drop touchdowns. Like it's, drops suck.
Yes.
When you lead the league in drops, you got to fix your wide receiver room. I don't think it's Bo's fault. I think when those are on the money, when they hit them in the numbers in the chest plate, you got to catch it. And beyond that too, it's okay for Bo not to be perfect. If he has a football that's thrown just a little tiny bit off, but it still hits you right in the hands, you're a wide receiver and you get paid millions of dollars. Like I expect you to make Bo's job a little bit easier too. He'll do what he can to make your job easy, but you got to reciprocate, right? That is a 2-way street wide receiver and quarterback. So let's upgrade the wide receiver room.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
to that end as well, let's get a tight end that can both block and receive reliably. I don't want a tight end that can only do one thing because then the defense just knows, homeboy's out here, all he's gonna do is block. And he may catch a pass 1 out of every 10 times he's out here.
Yeah,
but
we need a wild card there.
Yeah, that Joker person that Ingram was supposed to be. Maybe he can take a step forward next year. Maybe he gets healthy in the offseason and he comes out like fucking guns blazing. I hope so.
Yeah.
But let's not bank on that. Right?
No, probably not. And also, the other thing we definitely want and need to do is retain Vance Joseph. We had a great defense, as we've said many times. Let's give our fair props to the defensive coordinator, our kingmaker in this respect. He came up with these great plays, halftime adjustments. Were always clutch. He always did some amazing adjustments then.
A great bend, don't break defense often as well. Like the greatest teams would go against us and struggle to score touchdowns. We'd hold them to field goals. The defense generally did their jobs. There were a couple games, especially after the bye, where they were a little lackluster. But after that, they dominated the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. They did their jobs well enough against the Bills. And the Bills, Josh Allen is always going to be Josh Allen in MVP contention. Yeah. So the Bills beat themselves more than we beat them, but that's okay. Defense got a ton of turnovers, which was fantastic. So the defense did their job in some way every time.
Yeah, always showing up.
VJ is a huge part of that, and I really, really, really hope we can retain him.
Yeah, stay here, man. Don't try the head coaching gig again. You did it once, at least with us. It didn't work out. Just stay here. You're better as a defensive coordinator. Win some Super Bowl rings, like 4.
Yes.
Then you can leave us. And then we can beat you when you're head coach of the Raiders.
No, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. And with that, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to our Broncos 25-26 season recap. We'll be back with more Broncos stuff whenever we freaking feel like it. And until then, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, or I swear to Jeebus, Lucifer will be there in your dreams with his big, veiny, throbbing cock in your face.
And with that nice image, we'll see you guys next time.